Hello, welcome back to The Final Word. This is episode 2. My name is Candie and I'm hosting alongside with Stephen A. and Skip Bayless. We're here to discuss some mid-year football topics.
Hey, Skip, don't you get the ESPN memos to wear a tie, sir?
It's casual Saturday, so when you look this good, you don't have to wear a tie.
Candie, you look great as always.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Stephen A. I've had to watch too many of your A-list shows with your bogus rankings the last couple weeks.
When you're the number one sports reporter on television right now, you get put on the air. One day you'll catch up.
Is that self-appointed?
All right, let's jump right into topics, guys. The first question, I'm going to skip it over to Stephen A. Which team in the mid-tier should strike the most fear as a team that could win it all?
Yeah, Candie, I see a lot of good teams in that mid-tier, quite frankly, that are within striking distance of the elite in the league. For me, it comes down to Turf Monster, barking up the wrong tree, Smallville, and I think the real threat, which is Rough and Tough. Rough and Tough, when you look at that squad at 3-2 right now, they're running backs. They have a trio, whether it's Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, Bucky Irving, that had the capability of being explosive. I mean, every one of those running backs have scored double-digit points except for one time, which DeAndre Swift scored 9. They are electric. And in this year, it seems like running backs are where the points are being really accumulated. Her wide receivers have been a disappointment, but she's got the number one quarterback in all of fantasy football in Jalen Hurts. That's enough to keep her in it. And the idea is Harold Fannon's a great pickup. She's a great coach who's got a great eye. But mostly her record against the elite has been tremendous. She should have handed Raptori Zig his first loss this week. I don't know how she lost that game. And she also slipped up late against Ziggyville. She is very easily, could be 5-0.
Yeah, she's a good team. And I think she had a lot of people on bye was a lot of the issue for her. So
Still could have won.
Mm-hmm.
You going to jump in here,
You
Skip?
got anything to say about that?
Yeah, I got some things to say. I think initially, I kind of liked your take, but seeing as I can't ever agree with you, I'm going to go a different direction here. I think the team that everybody honestly needs to be scared of when you look at the roster and what the potential could be is a 3-2 Bowers of the Galaxy team. They're sitting at 3-2. They haven't. I mean, half the roster can't score touchdowns. It seems like, but they haven't. Nobody's hit the peak. You're looking at a roster that I think is well balanced. Stephen A. You got Nico Collins and Justin Jefferson, who last time I checked, fantasy football's PPR, so that means point per reception. So you're going to need some strong firepower at wide receiver position. I think the running backs, a lot of people question the decision making for, drafting what they did, but there's 2 top 10 running backs on this roster that I don't think anybody's seen coming, and there's a strong enough quarterback in the room in Bo Nix. Combine that with the fact that Brian Thomas Jr. hasn't had a game yet, and Tarek McMillan has been predicted to bust out every single week. I think this team's poised to bust out and break out and really put up some numbers the next couple of weeks. And looking at the schedule, because Stephen A., I don't know if you realize this, but you need to look at strength of schedule in order to kind of predict a path here. I see a path to 8-9 wins easy, and all you got to do is get in for this team. I think the strength of schedule for Rough and Tough's a little tougher. I do like the running back room. I do think that they have some potential to be explosive, but I've also watched the Eagles' offense the last couple of weeks. I mean, hasn't been great.
With all due
Barkley's
respect,
sure killing me.
With all due respect, Skip, that was idiotic.
Oh.
Idiotic. There are a lot of ifs with that Bowers of the Galaxy team. Look, I understand you're on the payroll. You want that team to be the champions again. I understand that. But in this business, we're professional. And we're non-biased. There are a lot of ifs with Bowers of the Galaxy. If Scatterbo can continue to produce at the level he has done through 2 weeks. He had 13 or less in 3 of the 5 games he's played so far. He is not the elite running back you're projecting him to be right now. If McMillian can break out, he's been solid. But if you're depending on him over Justin Jefferson to carry the team to the championship, you got bigger problems. Darren Waller has played 2 games. Brock
What did he do in
Bowers
those 2
can't get
games?
on the field.
What did he do in those 2 games?
He didn't do anything great. He didn't do anything better than what Rough and Tough's tight ends are doing.
Oh,
He
really?
put up solid
Because,
numbers.
I mean, he had 17 and 18 points last 2 weeks. That's pretty top end at the tight end position in a year where the tight end position's been pretty poopy.
I don't think he's outscoring the running backs for Rough and Tough. And he's certainly the quarterback
Don't
for
have to.
Powers of the Galaxy has absolutely no chance to outscore Jalen Hurts on a given week. Powers of the Galaxy is a good team. I'll tell you a team I like better than his, Turf Monster. A team that this network likes to put on a pedestal for some reason. I can't figure out why we are all about Turf Monster. That might be another pocket you guys are in. But let's look at that team. Turf Monster, first of all, the coach needs to get her head checked. She's traded not 1 but 2 good players to a rival. Bijan Robinson last year shipped out. Jonathan Taylor shipped out. Those 2 running backs could be superstars for her team. She then somehow got gifted Deebo Samuel. I don't know what people were thinking dropping Deebo Samuel. Her roster, even with those people, still oozes talent. She's got Ibuka. She's got Achian. She's got Samuel. That's a better roster than Bowers.
No chance. Stephen A., I know sometimes you like to dabble in the drugs a little bit and sniffing some lines here and there, but Stephen A., you got to lay off. You need help. You need help. If you think that there's more firepower on this roster than Bowers of the Galaxy,
Are you talking about this year's Bowers of the Galaxy or last year's? Because last year's
this
there was a
year's,
lot.
this
Justin
year's,
Jefferson is a shell of
he's
himself.
a top 10 wide receiver right now.
A
Right
shell of
now,
himself. There are a lot of receivers better than
Justin
Justin
Jefferson is a top 10 wide receiver right
Okay,
now.
guys. Before we get
Number
to
9. He's got this local JV quarterback throwing him the football, and he's still a top 10 wide receiver.
okay, thank you, Skip. Thank you. We're going to move on to question 2. Speaking of the waiver wire, which waiver wire pickup was the best this year so far? I'll kick it over to Skip first.
Oh God.
I mean, geez. I mean, you mentioned it. This is an easy one. I think we might actually, by the miracle of the heavens, Stephen A., agree on something.
Don't say it.
I mean,
Don't you say it.
I look at the waiver wire one week. I just pull it up because I'm curious, like to stay engaged. And I notice Deebo Samuel is on the waivers. Top 10 at his position. I mean, just basically, here you go, Turf Monster. Here's a top 10 player. I mean, that's easily the number 1 waiver wire pickup of the year. If we're ignoring that lunacy, then you have to go with Quentin Johnston for Barkley up the wrong tree. Top 10 wide receiver, claimed off waivers.
Is that the third pocket you're in this network? For some reason, we just love these people. I can't figure it out. But let's look at Deebo Samuel. I don't disagree with you on that's a great pickup, but that's a no-brainer. I scoured every waiver wire pickup, and
Everyone.
the most bids that were put in on a player were Deebo Samuel. I still can't figure out how Nightmare Slasher or AJ's Astounding Team did not get that player. But he did get gifted to Tony's team for some apparent reason. We can discuss ad nauseum what Randy was thinking. I'm the crazy one to drop that player with her receivers. But taking the obvious out, it can't be Deebo Samuel. It can't.
That's why I say Quentin Johnston. Stephen A., do you listen when I talk?
Quentin Johnson is he had a great start. He's a great player, but he's got a lot of other players on that team who are going to get the ball as well. Lad McConkey has started to kind of come on, had a breakout game
Stop.
last
You're
week.
going to mention Lad McConkpoo.
Lad McConkey, a
Lad
solid
McConkpoo.
top 20 player. at the start of the season.
Yeah, guess where Quentin Johnston's ranked? 8th
The whole point is
overall.
there are other people who are going to get the ball. I'll tell you.
Him. He's the number one option. The first read for Herbert is him. It ain't Ladd. I promise you that.
Look, I'm not disagreeing. Quentin Johnston's a good pickup. But there are other people on the Chargers who are going to get that ball. The best pickup clearly is by Smallville, Wandell Robinson. September 5th, the coach of Smallville picked up Wandell Robinson, who has had double digits in over half of his games, 31 points last week, which is only going to continue because Malik Neighbors is out for the year. Darius Slayton is out for several weeks. That player doesn't have the ball to share around as your boy Quentin Johnston does. That is why the obvious pick, Skip, it is Smallville, it is Darius, or it is Wendell Robinson.
Stephen A., how much football do you actually watch?
A lot.
Because I'm just curious. Because in order for my man to get the football, they have to throw the football. And I'm looking at the last 4 weeks. Hold on, Stephen A. Last 4 weeks, fantasy points scored by Wandell Robinson in this order: 3, 4, 8, 20. All right. And you look at the Chargers offense, they just had a Marion Hampton go down. So they're not going to run the football anymore. They are going to throw it, which means a lot more targets for Quentin Johnston. The
Supposedly.
Giants are going to pound the football. They have Scattaboo, they have Bam Bam Cam Scattaboo, and then they have Jackson Dart. They're going to run the football. When they do throw it, yeah, maybe it'll go to Wandell. But
They're not a
I'm
maybe.
not. I mean, he's had 4, 5, and 7 targets.
You know better than that, Skip. You know there's not a maybe. Wendell Robinson's the only receiver that they're going to throw that ball to. And you're assuming that Scatterbo is going to continue to run the way he has. There have been two versions of this running back. There's been the elite eccentric performance, and there's been the kind of dud performance as well. So if you're looking at the two, I'm not saying that that's not a possibility, but it's also a possibility that the Chargers finally realize the receiver they have on their hands, which is Ladd McConkey. And it looks like last week some of those targets went away from Quentin Johnston and started to find Ladd McConkey, who, by the way, is not dependent upon a deep ball to get a catch. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, certainly interesting. Hopefully, the
We need
injury bug doesn't
Hold
hit.
on. Hold on, Molly. I can't let this one go. Vlad McConkley, I'm just going to read you his fantasy production. All right. Week 2 on 9, 8, 2, 14. All 5, 7, 6, and 7 targets. That's the guy?
That's the guy.
That's the guy.
Everybody in America knew.
Chargers aren't going to run the ball anymore.
Everybody
Omarion's
knew the
down.
ball's going to go to McConkey. Who would you think is a better?
What do you figure? He's not even the number 2 option in that offense.
He's number one. You're right. He's number one option. You're right.
Oh, really? Because the numbers, Pro Football Focus,
He had a
ESPN,
slow
whatever
start.
you want to use, say otherwise.
He had a slow start. Skip. A slow start.
He's had a slow season.
He's coming out. You'll see.
Slow season.
Molly, can you do your job?
All
Oh,
right.
now you're telling other people how to do their job?
All right, guys. Let's move on to question 3.
Can't wait.
Why AJ will not finish last? I'm gonna kick it over to Stephen A. first.
Which is a smart choice because we'll get the nonsense wrap the show up later with Skip's like to spend. Look, I'm just going to put on the record AJ's going to finish last. You know, we got a high school program in a college professional level sport. I don't know what he's doing over there.
Which is college or professional?
Just listen, Skip. Just listen. I don't know what he's doing there, but I will say that there are a couple of teams that are becoming dangerously close of really slipping into that number 1 draft pick territory. Bowling Green without a name really looks like they are trending downwards here. They've had a lot of injuries to that team. Yes, we agree. I think we're on the same page. But when you look at that roster, there is still a lot of talent. There's still a lot of firepower that if they can re-spark it, that team can be dangerous. Nightmare Slash I actually really like. I think this team has had some really close losses this year, to Bowers Galaxy and to Ziggyville. Those teams could have easily won. I think the most likely number one pick is I'm the crazy one. As you mentioned earlier in the show, that coach is making head scratching moves. How do you drop Debo Samuel when your wide receivers in Cincinnati are really struggling since Joe Burrow's gone down? Um, your other wide receiver is DJ Moore, which in 3 or 4 games, he hasn't eclipsed 9 points. That is crazy to have a wide receiver room that inept right now. Her quarterback outside of Jones has been inconsistent. I like AJ quarterback a little better, if I'm being completely honest. She's got good players on this team, but some of the head scratching decisions leave me thinking that she is not going to maintain her level. She'll have the number one pick. Mark it.
Yeah, I think I'm the crazy one has made some crazy decisions. I think it's
Fair.
fit the name for sure, and we forget about Ricky Pearsall was also
Yeah.
available for a box of Skittles
Yes.
on the waiver wire as well. I'm looking at coaching style and GM here, and I'm looking at how the teams are being managed. Right, bear with me. All right, in order to have success, you have to actually set a lineup, engage, and make adjustments. I have seen this many, Stephen A, adjustments and lineup changes in the last 2 weeks from Boring Rain. They currently have a quarterback starting for them. He ain't playing. They're on bye. There's also a receiver that might not play either in the starting lineup. I think this is, according to my source, is that the manager of this team has taken a sabbatical and is currently without cell service on a beach somewhere, possibly in some sort of negotiations for some with the cartel. So I don't think they're going to manage the team all year. That is my pick because of those circumstances to have the number one overall pick. I got AJ winning at least one, maybe two. I,
A-
I think I think Boring Rain. I think Boring Rain gets the one pick.
AJ's got about as good a chance to win 2 games as I do of growing an afro by the end of the season. That ain't happening.
He at
Guarantee.
least sets his lineup.
He does set his lineup, but Boring Rain without a name, her backup is CJ Stroud. A lot of people don't necessarily make changes. You can find a filler quarterback that can get you some points. Her roster is still very good. Got some players that
You know how many
I'll
points they're
buy
going to get for the quarterback this week?
currently. She's not going to start CJ Stroud. She does set her lineup. I can't. How many times this season, Skip, have you seen a roster that she played that had 0 points? Did you want to do that? How many times have she had a player do that all year?
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm telling you, my source is have given me information that makes me think this coach has mailed it in.
Well, mail it in until we see her drop Lamar Jackson into the lap of someone else. Until we see her make bone scratching, head scratching decisions like dropping a very good player onto the waiver wires when you could have traded him to a lot of people would have taken Debo Samuel. Her roster, speaking of Reigns, still really good. They're hot and cold people for sure. But Rashad White, Jamison Williams,
Stop.
Shaheed, they've got ability to score 20 plus points. Now they got the ability to score the opposite as well. But if you're banking on Boring Rain getting the first pick because they don't set a lineup, that won't happen. I'm the crazy one sets a lineup, and their players aren't as good as what Rain has.
All right,
I,
thank you guys. We
I think there's
appreciate
still
all the
points, Molly.
information.
There's still points on I'm the crazy one. I think
You're
I
right.
think Joe Flacco, baby. Joe Flacco's coming to the jungle. I think he's going to light it up. I think the Bengals produce a little points there. Now, while Kareem Hunt might want to get him out of your RB2 slot, but I think there's going to be enough points from the crazy one to keep them afloat over some other squads here.
I won't speak for I'm the crazy one. My guess is she's on that. My guess is she's banking on Casey Higgins being too good to be that bad for the season. But my sources tell me that there have been at least two teams trying to have offered trades for a Jamar Chase earlier this year or a T. Higgins. Players that could have certainly produced more consistent points for that team that she really wouldn't even have engaged with. So you got two coaches, in my opinion, that have basically made it in. I think the other one pick.
All right, thanks, guys. Best of luck to all the coaches out there. We appreciate you guys watching it. Until next time.
You did better.
Final word.
You did better. We'll keep it for.
Hey, clean it up next time, Stephen A.
Thanks.
Actually get some rankings right.
See you guys.